Bigger than all my.
Welcome, Raider Nation. This is your hotspot. I am joined, as usual, by that quarterback that we all lack, Mr. Black.
Never take a sack. Mr. Never take a sack. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about.
I'll throw it away first, quick.
Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. I'll hold that hot potato.
Yeah, get up out of here.
Get up on out of there. We're gonna talk about the coaching staff. It's been a lot of additions.
Yeah.
We're gonna go a little bit deep and pause and really have a understanding of who's running things for the Raiders and where they've been, how they compare to other teams, groups of people that run things. Right? We should be having one more to help us out. RaiderTwuan is on the way, and I think we'll be able to kind of get through this and have some clear understanding about what's going on with the team. As we were coming on here, there was breaking news in sports. I am a Laker fan, and the Charlotte Hornets have somehow done it again. The trade for Mark Williams has been rescinded because the Hornets didn't do their part. We're going to have a show probably about Laker conspiracy, but that's going to be another show.
Where he was going, to the Lakers?
He was, yeah.
Y'all was about to get him too?
Yes. Trade was done. Done. And what happened? It's strange. Much like the Chris Paul trade was done. Anyway, we're going to move forward. So, how they do us. So, just in case you were out there wondering what's going on with that, yeah, they just did some weird stuff. Who knows? All right. Well, it is what it is, right? So,
right.
We got one more person to add
to the circus.
I'm sure he's feeling like he's part of the circus. RaiderTwuan with the high cam. What's up, Twan?
Hey, what's good? What's good?
Man, did you hear the latest about the Lakers trade?
Oh man, we got some wonderful things going on in Lakerland.
Oh man, they just rescinded the trade though.
That's all good.
The Mark Williams trade.
Is it all good?
Neck.
It is. It still is all good. Obviously they must have rescinded it because there was some injury concerns, and maybe he didn't fully pass the physical. And
they said it was on the Charlotte Hornets not doing something, which is strange.
Yeah. So I know we have I think our trade deadline was better than the Warriors though.
That's what we're gonna do. Compare them. Okay. We'll see. We'll see. We both in about the same position, and we'll see who do what.
Oh no, we're not. We're in the fourth, going into the third seed. You guys are in the 11th seed. I don't know if you checked the standings last time.
How y'all fourth seed?
Go to Bleacher Report.
We've been the fourth seed. We're creeping on that 2 seed.
What standings we are in?
And that's before Luka. We're creeping on that 2 seed. Anyway, that's just basketball.
Something don't look like the other.
Friendly little rivalry here between the Warriors and the Lakers, and
oh yeah, it's banter. It's banter.
teams that have won championships. You guys don't understand mostly. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at what we got on tap here. All right. So we're talking about how we're going to focus on the coaching staff. And so I'm just going to go ahead and share a document with y'all. Just share. So I hope you guys can see this in the audience. But there's been some key hires, right, since Pete Carroll took over. So we're just going to do an overview of what's happened within the organization recently. Obviously, you brought in Pete Carroll, coached the Seahawks from 2010 to 2024, basically, leading the Super Bowl in 2013. Reputation about competitive and energetic team culture, right? Defensive expert, particularly the implementation of the cover 3 scheme, emphasizing zone coverage, strong pass rush, promotes a positive, energetic environment, and that competition and player development, right? All very key things. Player development. So we had that as a focus for a coach. We all know we brought in Chip Kelly. He's been, a college and a pro coach. Was head coach for Philly 2013, 2015, and the Niners in 2016. Recently, he's been the offense coordinator for Ohio State. The offense averaged almost 36 points a game. He's, known for his innovative up-tempo offensive schemes that utilize spread, emphasize speed, lots of quick plays and maximizing those offensive opportunities, high scores typically in the games from his offenses. Right? We kept and retained Patrick Graham, been with the team since 2022. Previously held positions for the Giants, Dolphins, Green Bay. Adaptive, right? Tailors the game to exploit the opponent's weaknesses. Deploys multiple fronts, that sort of thing. Right? That's one of our captains here. All right. But the way that he goes about kind of switching speeds or whatever, variable, so that the other team can't get a beat on everything. It's been an advantage, especially against younger quarterbacks. Probably all quarterbacks, to be honest. Right? We stuck with our special teams coordinator. I think there's a theme that we're seeing here. Tom McMahon continues in his role there since had the role since 2022. Previously, he'd been special teams coordinator for the Broncos, Colts, and Rams. All about discipline, fundamentals, right? Stresses field position and has a track record of developing effective return and coverage units, right? So one of the better coaches in his position, right? So let's just take a quick pause and kind of talk about this so far, right? Brought in Pete Carroll. Chip Kelly is very experienced, total outsider, never worked with Pete Carroll before, has his own kind of background and coaching experience. McMahon was already here. Carroll kept him along with Patrick Graham. And Graham and Carroll don't run the same exact defense, but he is still here. Right? So just asking the panel, what do you guys feel about the fact that we just kind of ran it back when it comes to offensive, defensive coordinator and special teams coordinator? Basically, all the major coordinator positions except for the fact that obviously Chip Kelly is new, right? So what do you guys feel about those decisions? What about the conflicts within systems? People who've never worked together before. Any thoughts?
Well, for me, the way I'm looking at it is, they're recognizing the strengths and the weaknesses in it. So I'm just getting information right now. Really, that's what I'm in that mode. I don't know how they're gonna conflict that. I mean, how they gonna resolve that confliction? But I'm sure there's a plan in order. So I'm just paying attention.
Any thoughts, Tom?
I mean, that's definitely a good perspective. Is just kind of wait and see, gather your information, and then make your decision from there. But what sticks out to me is consistency. When you're having the special teams coach and the players on the team that are on the roster know exactly what's expected from the special teams coach, right? Same thing with Patrick Graham. He doesn't have to worry about the expectations, because when he calls those certain things that he's been calling for the past 2 or 3 years, this team should be able to run. And I think this is what benefits Pete Carroll, in its totality, is that when you have a coach that's been there and has already established a working system before he became a head coach with us, it all works for us. And if we want, and then the other thing is if we want some of these free agents to come back, we have to bring Patrick Graham back. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that we'll be able to knock off some of these guys in free agency if we were coming in with a new defensive coach.
Right.
So
I agree.
To keep the consistency, even though we got to pay for it because most of those guys are free agents, it's still consistency. And we all know, you know what I'm saying? If you watch a whole lot of football, or if you watched a little bit of football, I think we all could say that the defense was a better side of the ball. So now you're not messing with that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might have your little inputs here and there as Pete Carroll will, but the majority of what's going to be expected, what's going to be called, is going to be stuff that they've already learned outside of the rookies that are going to be coming in. So I like it.
Yeah.
And then back to not free agency, but the special teams. We also have to remember that the way that we do special teams now hasn't been the way that we've been doing special teams in the past. You know what I'm saying? They got that new kickoff rule and everything else. So to have there and the things that were taught, with these new rules and everything for the kickoff, then you don't have confusion there either. So I think it works for both sides, including Pete Carroll being the head coach.
No, that's a key point with the new kind of kickoff rules, right? The continuity at special teams could be a huge advantage, could when it's a game, really could. I think, you put smart people in the room together and usually good stuff happens. So I think they'll be able to, kind of meld what's happening. Pete Carroll can add to, the repertoire that Patrick Graham pulls from, right? Add some more seasoning to the stew, right? And so I think that's going to be fun to watch, right? So, Pete's got a ton of experience, but then we kept some guys around, right? One is the defensive line coach and now the run game coordinator on defense, Rob Leonard, right? A lot of hubbub about him. Nothing but positive things coming out of Raiderland about this coach. Just one of the coaches that was a must keep basically. Came to the Raiders in 2023. Previously coached with the Giants, Dolphins, and Ravens. Known for aggressive D-line play, focusing on disruption in the backfield, strong run defense, like pass rush. Everyone wants that, but aggressive is kind of the key words for Leonard. There's different styles of D-line play, right? And then we brought in an offensive line coach that's familiar to the head coach because he is his son, Brendan Carroll. Previously was the running game coordinator and offensive line coach for the University of Arizona. He's about cohesion, units that excel and run and pass, emphasizes technique and communication, and I think a lot more zone, guys. And then the last one we'll look at before we take a little kind of break and talk about it is Greg Olsen. Right? Raider fans familiar with Greg because he was the offensive coordinator from 18 to 21. Tons of experience coaching quarterbacks. Known for his quarterback-friendly systems. Definitely tailors the offense to the strengths of the quarterback itself. Emphasizes decision-making, accuracy, which I think is important. Right. I think pairing that with, Chip Kelly, what he's going to be looking to do. Looks like Brendan Carroll coming in, I think, is going to be running more zone than we ran last year. So if there's a way we can get rid of Zamir now or yesterday, we should probably do that. But yeah, thoughts, guys? What do you think? Twuan, you can go first this time.
Yeah, I think it's a positive that we actually have two offensive coordinators in that room. I've said it before. Having Chip Kelly. I always get a mix. I always want to say Champ Kelly, so that's why I'm over here stuttering like that. But with Chip Kelly, he can bounce ideas off of Greg Olsen. I wasn't too mad at Greg Olsen's offense. You know what I'm saying, when he was here as an offensive coordinator. So if he can bounce ideas off of, Chip, and say, hey, Chip might come to him and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And then, Greg Olsen can say, hey, this is, I think this will work for us. Especially with him working with the quarterbacks one-on-one, he'll know even closer to what the strong suits are of the quarterbacks. So, he could tell them, hey, in your playbook, this is what works for this guy. In your playbook, this also is not what works for this guy. You know what I'm saying? This is not his strong suit. So I like that. I really do. You have experience not only at the offensive coordinator, but you have experience at the quarterback's coach, and it's their stronger suits. I think Greg Olsen, even though I like him as an offensive coordinator, what he did with the quarterbacks, I think he worked well with them, and got the best out of them wherever he was at in regards to, not only with the Raiders, but all the other stops he's made working with the quarterback. So I like it.
Black, thoughts?
What's Greg Olsen's title?
Quarterback coach.
Oh, wow. All right, so I guess there's always there's pros to having offensive coordinators like that's been proven on your roster, right? Especially if he's a quarterback coach, and I'm assuming that is unspoken that he's the assistant offensive coordinator. So, like you guys said, that they're gonna bounce ideas off each other. Great, that's good. So what that tells me is we plan on winning now because we have competent coaching. Like we've been complaining about our coaching situation being unstable. So not only are we stabilizing the head coaching position, we stabilizing all the coaching positions. I'm talking about literally all of them, all the way from the O-line coach to to whoever. It don't matter. Because we got to also plan that we're going to bring a young quarterback in. If not this year, will definitely be next year. So we have to have that stable foundation for a new quarterback, a young quarterback, so we don't mess up his career, or at least add a delay to his career, because now you got to overcome the obstacle of what is known as the Raiders. So I think it's a good thing. What it tells me is we have a coaching staff that's setting itself up to win now, and I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, no, it's a little refreshing to see this sort of experience. I know that Brennan Carroll is Pete Carroll's son, and people will say nepotism and stuff. He's qualified, extremely qualified, especially because you kind of want someone that knows what Carroll is trying to execute in the run game, right? Coaching the offensive line. And I don't think anybody was ready for Tom Cable Part 3 here or whatever. Okay. Twuan is gone.
I like Cable Guy.
There are some people that were not pro Cable
That's
in
like
this
Cable
world.
Guy.
They probably didn't want to see that movie again. No, I think Brian Carroll is not even. He's very competent, very much the kind of level of coach that you give this job to. It's not like he doesn't have the experience to take the job. So, yeah, and I'm sure he'll get fired first if there's a problem, because that's how coaches treat their sons when you're anywhere near the staff or as a player, like trash. I'm not saying anyone in particular did that, Dad, but move on. We have.
To be honest with you, Hotspot, that's the one that has a question mark for me. Is the O-line coach?
Okay, give it to me.
I just don't. Chip Kelly hit, Greg Olsen hit, Brendan Carroll. That's how I feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Like even on the defensive side, you got Patrick Graham hit. We got Robbie Leonard hit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's kind of still the one that I'm like, kind of like Black. I'm gonna wait and see.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's just my opinion. Maybe I need to start reading the Wikipedia and figuring out.
I don't suggest going there for it, but
no,
yeah.
I'm just saying Wikipedia in the terms of that they tell you what where his stops were. You know what I'm saying? Like he coached over here. He did this on the offensive side. He did this. You know what I'm saying? So when you start looking at their career history, not saying that he's going to have a huge career history, but my concern is, has he really worked with O-line like that? Especially an O-line that needs a good coach. It's not like we got an O-line where Joe Blow can go in there and pretty much do a half-ass job and still we'll be all right. That ain't gonna be the case with this O-line.
No, the O-line.
So let's give you a more. Go ahead.
The O-line position is never a position you can throw somebody in there and just be like, oh, we just put somebody there. That got to be like a special individual. You know what I'm saying? Like, so with that being said, I don't think he just hired him because he like, oh, I got a job for you, son. It's not that. I don't even think it's like I'm trying to put you in position to be a head coach. I don't even think it's that. I think it's all about continuity. And that's what we lacked on the O-line was continuity and consistency. So I think that those two working together is an automatic consistent and continuity is there. So I'm cool with that. I don't know no O-line coaches is jumping off the page that make me be like, yeah, well,
gotta have him.
I'd rather have him, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
with the O-line coach, I don't care, even with cable guy, because sometimes your O-line, his O-line didn't perform as expected either. But let's see what kind of attitude you bring. That's what I'm trying to figure out when it comes to that. And what decisions are you going to make? Like on Andre James, everybody want to push him out. What are you going to do with him?
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna run with center with JPJ? So what we doing? So those small things that we see in training camp. No, well, yeah, kind of like in training camp this year, because I don't really pay attention. Because remember, I told you I don't pay attention to what I said, like week the third game, week 3 or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really pay attention to the training camp. So, but this year is gonna be a little different because it's gonna show us what kind of boat we have and what kind of motor we running with it.
Mm.
So we'll postpone judgment on it because I don't know enough about him. Like you said, like we could pity him too.
I mean, it's fair. I know that he was assistant offensive line coach for the Seahawks for a while, like from 2015 to 2019, and then he was the run game coordinator in 2020. Then moved to Arizona, and then last year was actually the offensive coordinator and O-line coach for Washington.
That's good.
So he was the offensive coordinator at Arizona as well. Previous to that, he was a wide receiver and tight end coach, offensive assistant. Began at USC back in 2002 under, I'm sure, his father, right? Then followed his father to Seattle, and then went off on his own to Miami and did some things. Came back to Seattle as an offensive line coach and kind of has stayed in that route, although he's been coordinating in college as well. So, yeah, he just seems to have a depth of experience where it's like, but I get it. There's not like a specific, calling for Brendan Carroll or whatever, right? Matt says, what did University of Washington play last year, zone or power? That's a good question. I think they played zone. I'm pretty sure he's a zone guy, but let's just make sure.
You talking about Chip Kelly?
No, Brendan Carroll. He was the O coordinator and O line coach for the Huskies last year. So let's see. Well, they categorize the offense for Washington as a version of the air raid, which is funny. Let's see here. There we go. Got a little breakdown. But it looks like a lot of stuff that's probably close to what Greg Olson was doing. Check it out here. Yeah. It looks like there's some influence from the McVay tree stuff. Shanahan and McVay. So West Coast zone run blocking scheme, a lot of outside zone, and there you go. So yeah, he was definitely running a lot more of the kind of outside zone shotgun stuff. So kind of variants of the Shanahan and McVay kind of offense. So yeah, zone man, to answer your question like as succinctly as I can. We lost one of our compadres. But get RaiderTwuan back. But yeah, so the offensive line coach is into zone. I'm pretty sure the Chip Kelly stuff was mostly zone. If you go back and look at what their kind of blocking schemes were like. So yeah, if you're a power run scheme advocate, we lose again. The league loves zone, especially since Al's not around. The Raiders have gone to zone a ton. Al is not a fan. Just want to say that. The thing about the zone scheme is that it does take a lot of execution. Guys being together for a while, doing it over and over again, repetitions. Sometimes it takes a little while for a line to catch on to it, as opposed to power running, which is something they've been doing their whole career, and I think it's kind of easier to pick up, but we shall see. You can, once you have it working really well, it can be special. Some of the best seasons we've had from backs have come behind zone lines. I'm not gonna say that's not true. Okay. So, y'all, thoughts on the fact that we are going to zone again, and probably more zone? Anything stick out at you? What do you think, Tom?
I'm kind of mixed with it. I'm all for the continuity, but when you got a O line that's pretty much a skittle, you know what I'm saying, all different flavors, it ain't gonna help. That's the issue with Andre James, and I hate the fact that Andre James might actually make his rise again, because Andre is not that dude when it comes to power, but in zone he can move, and good luck with us trying to, if we go that route and we're asked to throw the ball on 3rd and 15, good night. Because Andre James is going to get blown back every single time.
See, this is the thing. I want to do this because there's this misconception about Andre James and his play that I think is kind of unfair. When you look at the numbers, right, the win rate and the blown block assignment rate, he's pretty damn good. He's in the upper third of the league. When you look at those metrics, right, which is how you judge a guard, right?
And it's messed up because when he do mess up, he do get blown off the ball. When he actually mess up,
yeah,
he gets blown off the ball when he actually messes up. So it jumps out.
Right. But that's not the only, plays that are being executed. And I know it looks bad. And I know he can't block Chris Jones. But like I said, nobody can block Chris Jones. So, what are we asking for? Not every player is going to be the best at their position for the Raiders, right? But then some players have been here for a while, are good team leaders, play well, play their heart out, versatile. You know what I mean? At some point, you just have to accept who they are, right? It's the 80-20 rule and shit, right? You can't have 100% of what you want. You get 80%. If you focus on that 20 that you don't have, you're going to be in trouble, man. You ain't never going to be happy, right? What J. Cole say, love yours, bro. So I don't know.
Right, yeah, that's how I feel about it. I understand what y'all saying, and it got me paying attention. But then when I'm looking at them, I'm like, okay, y'all saying every time. I know you don't literally mean every time, but y'all mean most of the time, at least probably. And I'm like, Yeah, I can see why you say that, but then our O line is not that far off like people think. Like y'all don't understand like what this last year just did. Like last year for our O line is like 2 years worth of worth of live game action like type of learning curve because JPJ got to play center and guard like hella games. You know what I'm saying? And then when we go into training camp, then it's gonna be a battle of who gonna play where because we gonna put the best person in the best position. And I promise you, Colton Miller not gonna come back looking like how he did this year. He not. You gotta get see when he was injured, like he tried to thug it out. So like when we have these outlier years for players that we know, and I'm not putting Andre James in this, but in his defense, like if that's not your norm and you have a bad year, that's not who you are, bro. Like we gotta understand, like we think it's like we turn on the game and they're at 100% and they're playing at 100% all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like no, a lot of time they be playing at 80% when the year start. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know because they already got these injuries that they don't want to get surgeries on because then it's gonna kind of mess you up a little bit, or you gotta train. And so at the same time, all I'm saying is we do have some level of continuity on that line with James. He's probably one of those locker room leaders that you don't have to rely on him. The other O linemen can look at him and know he gonna do the right things, and we need to see that. And you can't just find that in a draft pick or with a free agent, unless you go get an older lineman again. So yeah, I don't know what to do with him. My whole thing is we gonna see coming up though, because training camp with Pete Carroll gonna be different.
See,
that's
hey,
true.
but that's the problem, Black. You said I don't know what to do with him. We shouldn't be at that point where we should.
No, when I say that, I mean like we got options. That's a good thing. We can either play center or he can play guard, but it looked like he probably needs to play guard though. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know what
it
to
looks
do with
like
him.
JPJ seems like he's more versatile and can play guard, so just let him.
And he don't be making a lot of mistakes.
Right. He made more than Andre James, but of course he's a rookie, so that's expected.
What mistakes?
Yeah, blown blocks.
Okay, but he ain't getting blown off the ball. Not never.
No, that's not a thing for him.
So I could go with that with my center, but hey, like I said, I don't know what to do with JPJ either. Shit. So it's not like I'm saying Andre James, because if it was like I didn't know for sure like that, I'd be like, I don't know if to keep him or not. If I feel like that, then we probably need to be looking for somebody.
It's more like where do we play him exactly? Does he go back to center?
Yeah.
Is he a guard? Yeah. Do we just make him a backup? What's the?
Yeah, because if we're gonna pull our guards in and Andre James act like he got semen in his cleats, that is not the person I want clearing out blocks. Now JPJ is another animal. That's different.
Yeah, he's exactly who you want leading a play, right?
Yeah.
So vicious,
Yeah, I want to say shout out to Pizzle too. Hope Mom Duke is doing better, man. Thanks for pulling up, and thanks for everybody else that pull up too, for sure. But special shout out to my Nizzle Pizzle.
Yeah, man. Like, health is wealth, so we're just that's all. I'm sure it's good. But yeah, thanks for being here, everybody that's here. Y'all know how we feel about the chat. Let's answer a couple more questions. Let's see, Matt says that may determine if JPJ or James will be center. James is definitely more zone center. This is true.
Right.
This is true. That's why he was like, oh, he's back. What's up, Pizzle? So. Yeah, man. Shout out to Twuan, everybody. Let's says a better, more mobile, or better in the pocket quarterback may help the situation. Right. So we either had an immobile quarterback or one that needed to bail the pocket a little bit too soon because he's a little short. You know what I mean? And you start getting that middle of that line up in the face, you can't see. So he's got to create lanes, opportunities to see down the field and move around the pocket to do that. And sometimes it means he's moving into a place where now he's in trouble. Now he's got to build a pocket. It's a bunch of stuff. Right? James gets his poopy pushed back in on a regular basis. Well, the stats don't say that. You're gonna make me go to Twitter and get all the proof out, but no, it's like he's one of the better linemen in the league when it comes to win rate. Does he win the rep or not? And then how many blown blocks, right? How often does he just block the wrong person, go to the wrong place, miss the block completely, that sort of thing, right? He's doing well, right? Better than JPJ last year, which we all loved. And then our best lineman was Meredith. So, although, yeah, debatable how long he'll be able to keep that going. Was it our O-line or was it the quarterback and running backs? Okay, so at first it was the O-line and the running backs. Okay, and then by the end of the season, it became a thing where you had the O-line not blocking, and I think it definitely threw off AOC in the beginning of the year, especially with him trying to pick up a new offense. I think that Minshew started to see ghosts. It was there's so little blocking, so little confidence in him as a player. I think he started to get, a little yippy. He was kind of happy feet in the pocket a little bit. That's my opinion. What y'all think? Was it the running backs, O-line, quarterback? What was it?
I think at the beginning of the year it was running backs. If you want to say it was an O-line in the beginning of the year, I could go with that a little bit. But it was the running backs, because the thing is this: if you can't run the ball at all, that doesn't help your O-line at all. Because all that means is they're pass blocking all the time. Like all the time, which is the defense love that. They love going to go chase the quarterback, like play after play after play after play.
Mm-hmm.
So if you had a running game to give the O-line some kind of chance to dominate the D-line instead of always running back and shit, you know what I'm saying? Like give them a chance to go fight something, then you help your quarterback. Then you help your O-line, which in turn helps yourself because now everybody's blocking for you. Then you can find the hole. Then your quarterback won't see ghost. Or the quarterback alarm clock will go from 3 seconds to 2.8 seconds now. You know what I'm saying? So it's the running back. And then when the running back did play decent, the team played decent. It wasn't so much the quarterback as much because you could have threw either one in there, you're going to get the similar result. You messed up Minshew's confidence because you just dicked him around all year till he got hurt. And then AOC, y'all kept trying to make him be something that he wasn't, but y'all kept giving him chances. So inconsistency at quarterback. When you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterback. So then that became an issue a little bit. So the O-line is going to jail the way it's going to jail. And like I said, they're being trial under fire this last season. It's like they did 2 tours right there. So at least 1.5 tours. So I think they're going to be better for that. But when you get a run game, then you'll be able to see the maturation or the potential of the O-line. Because we don't know because we ain't had a run game to see except for a few games. And when we did run effectively, when the running back did run effectively, we dominated on the line, including Kansas City game.
That's a pretty good analysis. Man. Thoughts? What do you think? Come on. O-line, QB, running backs, what was it?
It was all three of them. You know, I've been saying this, you know, in regards to, you know, a lot of things with this team. It's peanut butter, no jelly. Ham, no burger. You know, one day the O line is doing good, but then the quarterback is sucking it, you know, stinking it up. You know, then the next game the you know, the quarterback's doing good, the O line is doing all right, and the running backs can't find the hole. You know, so I can't really solely stick my finger on it. I can tell you what's more alarming to me is the O line, because again, if the O line can't get it together, we ain't gonna have no offense, and that's just a fact. You could have a good quarterback and a good running back. If that O line don't do at least half a job, you ain't gonna have much left.
All starts in the trenches, right? I mean,
yeah,
that's where, I mean, you could say whatever you want about Getsy and the offense, right? I think that Getsy was not creative enough to kind of deal with adjustments on the fly and young quarterbacks at the same time, which is a difficult thing to do as a coordinator. He was too young in his coaching, you know, experience to be asked to do that. I think he needs to probably have a quarterback who actually knows what they're doing first to operate the offense. But like, it had no shot because we didn't run the ball at all. Like, you there's no way you could even judge his play calling ability when you cannot run the ball in a run-based outside zone scheme. Like, if the Niners can't run the ball, they don't have an offense. Neither did the Broncos under Shanahan. Okay, like, it is a necessity of that offense, and the fact that they couldn't do it at all, I mean, we didn't really even see them as a scheme, right? So that's when Warrior Ryan, thanks for coming through. Yeah, I mean, you know, do I think that there was some stuff that Getsy did that was not smart as far as play calling? Yeah. Do I think that, like, if we, you know, had a better running game, he may look like a better play caller? Yeah. But the scheme that we run now, right, under Chip Kelly is going to be, you know, a completely different setup, right? And so you can't really compare the two as far as, you know, what they're being asked to do in the passing game. But the running game is going to be probably pretty damn similar. This is predicated on the same philosophy, right? The outside zone run scheme. So that means that stretch zone run is something you should see multiple times per game, and there should be variants of it, plays off of it. It's like the straw that stirs the drink, right? Is the outside zone stretch play. So running back has to be able to see that, fast enough to get to it, and have the vision to cut to the right spot when it's being over pursued or whatever, right? Right, because that's the zone is trying to create either a crease, or if the defense over pursues, the almighty cutback run, right? So there you go. Ryan says, going to Vegas in a couple weeks to tour the stadium. I've never been to Vegas. going with the wife. Nice. So you're gonna come and tour during the off season? Let me know, because if
No
you
way.
are, I'm gonna try to stop by
Mm-mm.
and see what's going on with you. Check you out, buy you a beer or
Yeah.
something. All right. Hold on now.
Yeah, I
Got
called them already.
some volume issues. So, yeah, I think that the O line was a key issue or harbinger of what the season was going to be.
Yeah.
And when they didn't perform kind of up to the level that we were expecting, that coupled with obviously the lack of the run game, it just completely, I think, buried any chance we had at offense. And as I continued through the year, it was just like there's no real way to fix that, right? If you run a different system, maybe, right, you can get around it, or just throw. But that's just not that system. That's not what it's built off of. We try to go to short passing to open up the running, and short passing in place of the run, and it's just, not what we were built for. We needed to be able to control clock, cater our defense, play complementary football, right? You'll hear Pete Carroll talk about complementary football a lot, where the offense, possesses the ball, therefore giving the defense a chance to get rest. The defense creates turnovers to give the offense a short field, and they complement each other, right? So it's kind of the goal, and so you need to actually play in a way that's conducive to that. But if you're going to do that, it requires you need to be able to control the football, to possess it for long periods. You need to usually run it, or just short pass the heck out of it if you're Tom Brady, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a couple of people that don't do that, but you get my point, right? You need, if you're going to do that, your quarterback usually is exceptional, right? If you'll pull that off.
True.
Right. I mean, have you ever seen that in any other situation, Juan, besides like a really exceptional quarterback who's able to kind of just, go without the running game? I think like Marino. I don't really know. I mean,
I'm trying to think, because the Saints had a good run.
But there was Drew Brees, right?
Yeah. It's
usually, requires a really talented quarterback to do that. Some would say probably Goff was the least heralded quarterback to do something like that.
True.
Maybe. Red Ryan says, once they finally start playing like a cohesive unit and consistently winning, then I will be there this next postseason. Hopeful. Things are definitely trending in the right direction. That's right. For sure. Thank you, Yoshi, for coming through. You're much welcome here. So let's try to get those likes up, guys. I don't know where we're at with likes, but I know people usually kind of lag on those. So I'm going to ask you to like the show so that other people know that it's worth watching. The collective intelligence of the Raider Nation can be raised as we all take the time to get to know what the Raiders actually are and what they plan on actually doing. So, I mean, we made these changes so quickly that I didn't even get a chance to kind of go over different systems. We will go over the Chip Kelly system, whole show on it, and we'll talk specifically about what the objectives are, how he tries to achieve those, what the results are, plays that you're going to see a lot. And then as we get closer, we can kind of take a look at what Patrick Graham does, and then what Pete Carroll does, and have a little discussion about, how that might come together, right? We got some more coaches I wanted to talk about. So the staff continues to fill out, right? We have picked up our running backs coach, and Dylan McCullough. He was the Notre Dame running back coach. Previous to that, he was the running back coach for the Chiefs as they won their Super Bowl most recently. McCullough emphasizes vision, ball security. He likes versatility from the backs, meaning that he wants you to catch it and run it in the backfield. So modern, well respected. Any thoughts on Dylan McCullough before I move forward?
I think it's I think they had to move on from Cadillac, because what did Cadillac really do for us in regards to our running backs?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Right.
So they got to keep trying, keep knocking at the door until we find that guy. So.
Yeah. Shout out to Cadillac. Obviously, we all wanted that to work. I'm not saying it didn't work, but like it wasn't anything where you're like, oh, we got to keep him. You know what I mean? And my boy Ryan's asking questions. Let's see what he said here. He says, what is your confidence in the staff so far that they put together? That is a really good question. So what I wanted to do is kind of look at our staff and just do a little comparison to the other staffs in the AFC West, right? Quickly, Chris Beatty is going to be the wide receiver coach. Spent some time as the offensive coordinator last season, interim after they fired the replacement for Getsy in Chicago. He's wide receivers coach for the Chargers before that. He's all about, developing route running, yards after the catch. So, okay, we'll go with that. It sounds more like a West Coasty wide receiver coach, right? With the emphasis on those kind of pointers. As far as the defensive pass game coordinator, that's Joe Woods. He previously was the defensive coordinator for the Browns. Lots of experience coaching DBs. So I think he's going to end up being what you would think of as a secondary coach, pretty much. That's how I'm reading it. Is that how you're seeing it, Twan, or am I just like tripping?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. Because pass game coordinator, and then with the kind of like resume he has, I would think he would have some pretty stiff responsibility amongst the other defensive coaches. Joe Woods is actually well respected. Pretty much a huge get, honestly, to have as somebody just over the secondary. We got my boy Nutty Raider Nate up in the building. What's up, man?
Salute, bro.
Salute to you. Just send invitation if you want to come through and chat. Just let me know. I'll send you the link. But yeah, man. Raider Ryan says, do they have recreational marijuana in the stores in Las Vegas? And that would be a big yes. Yes. Very much so. But yeah, Nate.
Oh, he's really not been to Vegas, dude.
Nah, he ain't been here. Yeah, not recently. No, it's everywhere, for sure. Not a problem finding that. Yeah, it's like almost as easy to find that as to us find a slot machine. So that way. Let's see. We'll talk about it a little bit more here. We got. There we go. So, yeah, I was looking at just kind of like the fit of the staff, right? It's a mix of veterans, young coaches, and a lot of innovation, right? There's a strength on the staff on defensive experience, right? Between Carroll, Graham, Leonard. Technically, Marvin Lewis is still on staff, guys.
Yeah, I saw that.
He was not let go as assistant head coach. Interesting, right? Interesting. Because there were people who were literally, there was a whole letter of people they specifically relieved of their time, of their duties here, and he was not on the list.
Yep.
Which I think is hilarious because what AP was like, I'm gonna make sure I listen to myself more next year, and they were like, yeah, definitely fire him because Marvin Lewis was telling him what to do and he wasn't listening. Maybe interesting. Anyway, Joe Woods, Lewis, Leonard, Graham, Carroll, a lot of defensive experience. A lot of Carroll and Woods are secondary experts, and Leonard D-line. There's a lot going on here, right, Lewis?
Yeah.
Also, I think we have the best defensive staff in the AFC West. Okay, I think the innovation that we might see coming from a Chip Kelly, Greg Olson is really good at kind of translating for quarterbacks and making sure it stays simple. Chip Kelly likes to mold his offenses around the quarterback in question. That's why he can run an offense with, like Vic, or he can run an offense with, Sam Bradford, like completely different, right? Quarterbacks,
completely two different styles,
right? I think there's a lot of veteran leadership between Carroll and Olson and Kelly and Graham, and these are all, and then even for retaining Martin Lewis, like a lot of experience, a lot of people you can kind of look up to that provide stability and experience. Just not for the, not just for the players, but for the younger coaches on staff who are coming into their own and growing, right? And then, McCullough and Beatty, the running back and wide receiver coach, have very strong track records for player development in college pro levels, as does Carroll, Leonard, Graham, right? Players get better under them, and they emphasize that kind of player development angle, right? So those are my kind of thoughts on the staff itself and just kind of how it comes together. I think that this is one of the most experienced staffs we've had in years, and the defensive staff is the best since Rob Ryan's 2000, era, Super Bowl era defenses, right? And that's the staffs we had for them are pretty good too. Carroll is one of the most respected head coaches in the NFL. The success of the staff, I think Chip Kelly is the key here, guys. I think there's a lot going on as far as having defensive prowess, and I think how Chip Kelly goes could determine where we end up ranked, right? So, yeah, I wanted to kind of look at our team coaching staff, how it breaks down and compares to the other AFC West teams. But any thoughts on the latest stuff that I just broke down here as far as
I think in just when you're breaking down the names, I think it's all going to be it looks like it has all the rules and things to succeed, but there is ego. And if they don't function on ego, then we're going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because they say, what is it? The more minds together, makes it better or whatever. I'm saying the phrase wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about. When you got more, you know what I'm saying, minds in there to break it down defensively and offensively, and you don't have an ego, like, yeah, your scheme may not completely work against that. You know what I'm saying? Not at all, but it may not work against that team. I need you to come week to week, and let's see how we can break down these teams. not because of what we have on the roster, but schematically. How can we break down, the Chargers? How can we break down the Broncos? How can we break down the Chiefs week to week?
Right.
And I can keep going about the other teams, but it really is a week to week, team. One week you run the ball a whole lot. Next week, that team is really good at running the ball, so you might have to pass it a lot. And because our quarterbacks may not be the best quarterbacks in the world, you got to make sure the plays calls that you calling out of that book definitely fits the suit of whoever you have under center. So, I hope that they don't function on ego, because if they don't, we're definitely going to be a problem for, I won't say a complete problem, but we'll definitely surprise a few people because they think, we're the old Raiders.
Yeah. I think we have the right person leading in those meetings. If you're talking about trying to leave ego out of it, right? Pete Carroll is, subscribes to the type of leadership that is not ego driven or ego based. I think that his ability to kind of facilitate these conversations is one of his better attributes. So I look forward to seeing kind of what comes of what will no doubtedly be a collaboration between even the offense and the defense on best course of action. People scouting themselves, right? Thou shalt scout thyself, and that's how you get better. But yeah, panel. What direction would you go for a veteran quarterback, and who would you like to see for a rookie quarterback? I think Chip Kelly influence will be strong, and possibly Will Howard. He already knows the offense. This is true. So, okay, the veteran quarterback. I think that we need to revamp the room. I think that we need to, at this point, trade Aidan O'Connell. He is not a fit for Chip Kelly's offense. He will never be a fit for Chip Kelly's offense. I think that a new place to just kind of start would be the best thing for that man in his career. And I don't like what has been done with him so far here. I think that what AP ended up doing is just kind of damaging his prospects for being a starting quarterback down the road by putting him in situations where he was almost guaranteed to flounder, right? In order to try to save face on his position as a head coach. So I don't like it, right? I don't like that at all. Actually, AOC was something I do respect for what he's kind of gone through, what he's put himself through to be here, right? To give himself this chance. And so having it squandered away the way it was last year was kind of extremely disappointing. I'd like him to get a fresh start, somewhere where he has an actual chance. I do not believe that man has a chance to be a starting quarterback for the Raiders anytime ever. So I'm sure I'll take some hate for it. But, I took hate being last year when I said AP needed to be fired. So I took hate when I said that Bo Nix was a good quarterback and should be drafted in the first 10 picks. So just remember that when you're typing your response, okay? Will Howard is interesting. I would love to get through his tape, but he has some very interesting attributes. He does know the offense. Depending on what happens at the top of the draft, I think that if Shedeur Sanders is at 6, you have to take him. I think when you have a chance at a quarterback that good, who is familiar and comfortable with your team, wants to play there, and has the greatest quarterback of all time, who happens to be his coach working in that same organization, you need to not look a gift horse in the mouth, right? Just take the quarterback, back out slowly. Otherwise, if he's not available, I think Will Howard is a very strong candidate for that quarterback position, as is and must be Dylan Gabriel, since it's the Oregon offense, which is very much like the Oregon offense for Chip Kelly, and the head coach has experience with a 5'11" quarterback with a stronger arm than should be, who can move around and make plays. So it's interesting, but like the Dylan Gabriel has to be in that conversation of the kind of below the top guys tier. I don't have Jackson Dart there. I didn't write up his numbers, right? But I just looked at his tape, and I don't see the like crazy strong arm stuff or the plus athleticism. He looked like a poor man's Derek Carr to me. And I'm talking about pre-2016 Derek Carr, Fresno State Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr was more physically gifted than Jackson Dart, looked to me, including the arm strength. But maybe somebody else has something for me in the chat. Twan, do you have something else for me on Jackson Dart that I'm missing?
I'm not sure. I like Jackson Dart, but not as a day one starter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, like you said, by default, you got to look at Will Howard. You got to look at everybody that has ran that or is familiar with that system. Because you also want someone to, if you can, you want that person, you want the quarterback to also be a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So if we got someone like a Will Howard, he knows exactly, when Chip Kelly starts spitting out his lingo, Will Howard knows exactly what that is.
Mm-hmm.
And can start teaching, all the other pieces, what Chip is cooking.
Mm-hmm.
So it definitely is intriguing. Not saying that he's end all be all at quarterback. Not saying he's the best, best of the best. But because he's in the system, you kind of got to give him some points.
That's fair. Yeah. Black, got any thoughts on the question for the panel? Which direction would you like them to go with a veteran, and then what rookie? What's the influence that's coming out of Chip Kelly and all that good stuff? 1 second here.
Wilson. So that's your veteran quarterback right there.
Russell.
On mute.
Oh, no, you good?
So it looked like we're gonna get Russell Wilson. There's your veteran quarterback right there, and then we can go draft a quarterback, and he can sit and learn or whatever. That's what I prefer. All these other names that's coming up, other than Cam and Shador, I ain't really hearing it. Like, unless we gonna go get one of them in the third round or something, then okay, cool, whatever. It don't matter if it hit or miss. Hopefully it hit. But all these other quarterbacks, I ain't really trying to hear it because they're not franchise quarterbacks, and they don't even look like they got potential to be franchise quarterbacks. So, nah, I'm cool on the quarterback class this year. So if we do get a Russell Wilson, then we can put it off and kick it down the road just one more time, one more again. But it might be necessary to do that because, like I said, I only see two franchise quarterbacks in this draft. So, I mean, one could probably surprise me that I'm not knowing about. But other than that, it's not a strong quarterback class. But there is a lot of strong players in different positions that we could pick up, being that we got a gang of holes. The biggest hole ain't always got to be the one you fill up first.
Very true. Very, very true. Pause. Interesting.
And about the quarterback coming in with the system thing, I mean, that's cool. But see, I for me, I'm not looking for that so much in a quarterback, because that's kind of like a mulligan almost, because it's like I put you in a system and you should kind of succeed in that, which is very true. But what happens if you change coordinators and they got a different philosophy? How good are you able to pick up other playbooks or philosophies? Like that's very important, especially nowadays with coaches not having the longevity as they used to. So are you a cerebral quarterback? Are you the type of quarterback that logs 0 hours on your iPad? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of quarterback you got up here for that. Now, if you got a quarterback that is that, and you put him in a system that he's played in, then the learning curve should not be as long. It should kind of help you push it along a little bit more progressively.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I tend to lean towards, the Russell Wilson thing. Although there are options. You could go after somebody like Geno Smith and open up your window to be able to develop a quarterback, right? For the Jalen Milroe lovers, or the Joe Milton lovers out there, bring in a younger veteran quarterback who gives you a chance to compete, and you can win with if you do the other things right, and then gives you that longer window to develop the quarterback. That may be an option, right? If you really believe in Chip Kelly's ability to get something out of a quarterback that others wouldn't get, maybe he does fall in love with, a Justin Fields or something. He wants to go with the Fields and, take some time to, hold off on drafting a quarterback or something.
Fields of dreams.
I'd probably throw up my mouth, and we'd have to have an emergency podcast where.
Oh, I'm throwing up on the ground.
Over the field. I'd have to bust out the old trusty tape and be like, listen to what we've done.
I ain't did this in a while. All over the place.
Oh, man. Because you're going to make me watch a whole season of that tape.
Right.
On top of already having to watch it. Just please don't do that. But it's a possibility, so I have to bring it up, guys. This is how much I tell the truth, right? There is the throw money at Sam Darnold and pray strategy. He's like, oh, I hope he is what he was at first, and then we're good. We solved all our problems. 30 million. We found it.
Now, what I will say is this: with this O-line, though, he is not gonna have time to be sick. He gonna be looking like AOC back there getting hurt by week 5. You can't sit back there in the pocket and look for the receivers to clear to get up. You can't do that here.
Same.
Because you saw what happened in the playoffs, because they was like, oh, okay, we just going to blitz your ass from every different which way. And they just started blitzing him, and they mangled that man. Do y'all remember how they was killing that man?
It was crazy.
He looked at like when Joe Biden hit the wall. Like, we didn't know who he was. I was like, damn, this Sam Darnold? He just messed up his bag.
He took, what was like 9 sacks? He took about 18 hard hits.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm like, man, you're supposed to be avoiding those. What happened?
Man, they was coming too fast, man. That's how we'll have them out there looking. We'll be like, damn, why we get this
so fast he couldn't even.
They ain't gonna blame it on Sam Darnold. That's the cold part. They'll blame it on the line too, but they'll blame it on him.
Oh, it'll be Darnold's fault fully, and it's bad blocking when you don't even have time to get on the ground before the dude hits you.
Right, he didn't have a chance to get on the ground.
Oh my god, man.
I'm like, this man threw like 40 touchdowns in the regular season. He came out here and couldn't even throw a little 5-yard out. He
was under duress the whole game. And when I say duress, I'm using that word because that's what it was. It was a damsel in distress out there. Just running around.
If we got to run the Bradford offense.
What is the Bradford?
I'm just saying, whatever Chip Kelly did with Sam Bradford, he can't expect him to be Mariota or anything like that.
No,
that ain't gonna happen.
Speaking of Mariota was the backup to one Jaden Daniels last season for the Commanders. Played some games, played well when he showed his face in that spread offense by Cliff Kingsbury, which would be very similar to an offense that will be run by Chip Kelly. Mariota. Why do I feel like those names go together? Oh, they were both at Oregon at one point. Right. I think Mariota actually came in 1 year. The year that Chip Kelly went to Philly is when Mariota stepped in under Howrick or whatever. Mark Howrick, I guess his name. From Brown, yeah. So the coach at the time for Oregon, which would be just running Chip Kelly's system. So Mariota knows the system. Is a very good backup. Locker room presence is unquestioned, and probably plays better in this system, in this kind of setup than anything else he's been tried in his career, especially the West Coast offense that he's trying to be forced into under Gruden. You never know what you get out of a Mariota. You might have one of those, career best seasons, because of the familiarity with the organization here, so he feels comfortable in getting back to what made him a Heisman Trophy candidate in college. So we'll see. I think that, there's a possibility of Will Howard, who I cannot close the door on being a franchise quarterback at this point. I think that he has the tools to be one, and I haven't finished his tape. But he's made some plays, man, that stand out. Some throws, some runs, the way that he runs, the toughness that he seems to display, the calm that he seems to display in the pocket. And I think all of those things I just said also apply to Dylan Gabriel, who is like 1.5 feet shorter. 4 inches, something like that. But, he does it a different way, but absolutely some of the most electric plays that you're going to see out of a quarterback, buying time, moving around, running with the ball.
Who are we talking about?
Threading the needle. Dylan Gabriel.
Oh, yeah, your boy. You.
I have to say the truth about what the guy has put on film.
DG.
He's small, but sweet God. He's throwing piss missiles and outrunning DBs.
Okay.
That's what happened.
I ain't saying I'm not even saying you wrong. I'm just saying, okay. You're the guy that's
listen, am I calling him the best quarterback in the draft? No. I'm saying dude needs to be considered. I haven't finished his tape. There was a lot of talk He says, that's fact, Hunter Hotspot. You did call it with Bo Nix. Thank you. Thank you. Do I think he will have the same success? Haven't finished his tape yet, so I won't say that.
Man, Bo Nix ain't even had no. Oh, well, I guess he go to the playoffs his first year.
Yeah.
That's something.
Swept us after we swept them for years. I was hoping to see Howard closer to in the third. Yeah, I think by the time the draft comes around, he'll be a second-round pick. Gabriel probably the same. Although there are teams that might say, let's trade up into the late first to take him so that we can have the extra year, the fifth-year option on the quarterback. This can be really a cost saver, obviously. If you hit on a quarterback, makes a difference. It was one of the things that hurt us with Derek Carr, is that he was a second-round pick. We had no fifth-year option on him. So he signed his deal a year earlier with one less year of a window of rookie quarterback Derek Carr contract.
Well, that and just we failed to have that next person up within those 4 years.
Well, see, I don't know what it is about our team. Like the time we had Derek Carr rolling, he was the thing that he was the glue that kept our franchise together. So we was just trying to put pieces around him. We didn't have time to plan out his successor because in reality he wasn't supposed to leave when he left. We let McDaniel sabotage him out of the franchise so much that half of us don't like him. Although he was the only one that was keeping us relevant other than Khalil Mack. You know
I will say that a lot of people had their issues with Carr prior to the whole McDoofus scandal. And so I think there's some of that.
Was it legit? Well, was it legit though?
Legit to have questions about Derek Carr being a starter?
Yeah, that's a stupid legit. That's a stupid thing to
I don't think so.
His legitimacy.
I don't think so. Not at the cost.
That's stupid. That is stupid. There's no way you're gonna convince me that Derek Carr is a questionable starter and these same people like AOC. No.
That's crazy. That's inconsistent.
Hell
no, that's crazy.
No.
But see, my thing is I don't have like any patience for the middle ground quarterback, right? My feeling is either you have a quarterback you can win a Super Bowl with, or you don't have a quarterback and you need to start over.
Yeah, but that's a philosophy, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's a philosophy. Yeah. So in the Raiders, whatever philosophy they use to have Derek Carr in, they put him under duress his whole career. This man he didn't even have an offensive coordinator for more than 2 seasons. Like, damn. And then you have this inconsistent defensive play the whole time.
Inconsistent.
You gotta have a middle tier defense to even go to the playoff.
Bad defense.
So like, damn. This boy came from behind hella games when we should have lost. We should have had the number 1 pick hella times. I just don't get it, man. And then when these people talk about the loyalty and all that, I'll be like, once a Raider, always a Raider. Y'all dog the nigga when he just leave. And then y'all dog Jacobs. Like, what y'all dog him for? And I ain't talking about nobody in particular, but I'm saying for those that are like, what y'all dog him for? And then he had to come out his own mouth, as humble as he is, as if we didn't know what kind of kid he was. He finally has to come out and say, you know what, man? I told these fools I'll play for some fruit snacks and a Capri Sun. Just let me get a Raider jersey. And they was like, nope. We only got we only got veggie sticks. Like what? Like what? All the stuff I brought here, y'all talk about I can't even get nothing? Nah, man, the Raiders is full of it. These fans be full of it, and it be pissing me off because I'm like, as soon as somebody do good, they're gonna be hanging from them, and then the moment they don't, then they want to be like, fire them. Like, damn.
Hey, how many people was in love with Jack Jones?
And see, the thing is, I don't fall in love with a player until you do something for like 3 years.
Salute to
like Brock Bowers, I ain't in love with him, but I'm falling.
Listen. I got a special place in my heart for Jack Jones. Long Beach Poly from the neighborhood. I want him to do everything great. You know what I'm saying? Did he have the same year this year as last year? No. Is his struggles, I think, a little bit overplayed? Yeah. Am I biased? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but see, you would say that without having somebody having to pull that card.
Right.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Like, I would tell somebody if I'm biased, like, I'm sure I have a level of, I would say loyalty to Derek Carr, but I can think objectively. And even if I'm not thinking objectively, I can at least hear what y'all saying enough to be like, I could be misguided in where I'm thinking, but my misguidance ain't 2 standards deviations away from what the hell I'm thinking. It ain't that. It might be 1. It ain't 2.
Right.
So I just don't understand like why we do our players like the way we do. Like,
yeah,
we know it's the franchise. We know it's the franchise. They did Marcus Allen like that.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Even if you ain't been a long time Raider fan, you should know at least from there on, the Raiders been shitting on their coaches and their players.
What happened to Marcus Allen was not cool.
Well, he shouldn't have ended up in Kansas City. I know that.
Hell no. He also shouldn't have set out the prime years of his career in order to.
Yeah, well, I don't know what he was
pay
going
penance
with Al Davis. Al Davis over there doing the same thing they did to Josh Jacobs, talking about nope. And Marcus Allen was like, nigga, I won't play. I don't care. I stand on business. They almost did Tim Brown. They almost did Tim Brown like that. Come on now.
Well, if you let the fan base, I guess 40% of the fan base would like us to do the same thing to Maxx Crosby.
For 40%.
Let's just sell him down the road too.
I'll take 40% because that's a safe estimation. But yeah, like that's to me, like I can see if y'all saying we making a business decision. Y'all saying it because he ain't that good. And I'm like,
what?
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
He might not be the greatest in the league, but for sure, he a force multiplier.
He's not in the same like
I'll trade him for some picks
as Bosa or
maybe depending on who the player is, but not if we got the D line that we got right now, and all we gotta do is just make sure we stay healthy. Then we can see what we got because we got some pieces.
Well,
because then Maxx Crosby end up with 12 or 13 sacks next year. Then what's the argument?
Which he probably will have again. Salute to my boy Western. He could not be here, but for very, very good reason. He says salute nation, salute chat. He says, I can't see the show or what's going on, but I can hear the audio. That's right. Tuning in on the way back from Sacramento. Salute. He's on the way back from Sacramento with an IROC Z28. Let's fucking go. For those of you who have not been around, Western has been working extra hard, stacking dollars to get himself an IROC Z28. Because why not? You know? Why not?
If I was a hater, I would hate, but since I'm a congratulator, congratulations, brother. You deserve it. You work hard and you did the damn thing, and ain't nothing like getting one of your dream cars and all that. You know, regardless if your wife wants you to or whatever, you can love them like you love them, but it ain't nothing like doing something for yourself that you want to do for a while. And I think the short time knowing you, bro, kudos to you, and enjoy it. Just don't bap it.
Yeah,
Don't bap
keep
it.
Keep it cool. Keep it cool.
I'm a dip though. I gotta dip out.
Yep. And then you gotta travel.
RaiderTwuan, you already know what it is. I appreciate you, brother.
Yes,
You always got my mind thinking, brother. So I appreciate you a lot. Thanks to the chat and everything.
Yes.
And I'm a
yeah. Let's go. Nice. So yeah, thanks for coming out, Black. And thanks for your time. See you next time. That boy Sam I am. So Western says he likes Howard, and the Chip Kelly combo makes a lot of sense with Will Howard. So, yeah, this rumor here about Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson won't be coming back together, and that he won't be in Pittsburgh either seems strange to me. I want to hear more from different sources. This feels very anti Russell Wilson to me. That's all. Reports aren't usually that definitively negative on one side, but yeah, go ahead, Twan. What you think?
I just don't think Russ is the answer.
Okay.
Because as much as he may have ties with Pete Carroll, when it all boils down to it, we need a quarterback that knows Chip Kelly's offense.
Which brings me back to one Marcus Mariota. No, okay. I'm gonna leave the Mariota stuff alone, guys.
And as much as I may not necessarily want Mariota, he's another one that fits the you know what I'm saying, the identity.
Because I believe the room needs to be cleared out, right? I think that Minshew and AOC need to get gone, and that we need to start fresh with Mariota, a rookie, and another veteran we think can start, and then go from there. Let Mariota teach everybody, and let the chips fall where they may, right? That's just my belief there. But I think he would be a very good steward and support for a young quarterback that is trying to kind of pick this offense up, right? Which could be worth everything just that by itself, right? So it is interesting. Will Howard is an interesting kind of prospect also, just because of his knowledge of the offense, but because of his kind of stature, build, whatever, he's not one of those quarterbacks that only fit this offense. He does seem to be a student of the game who can pick things up quickly, like Black was talking about. So if we did switch, I don't feel like we'd be stuck running something similar. Like he can run whatever, right? That's kind of my feelings on that so far. Shador is like the perfect fit for what Kelly wants to do, Chip Kelly. He may represent the best combination of mobility, accuracy, and ability to understand and execute the offense that Chip Kelly has had access to in his career. And that's not saying a little. The mobility to run the offense, but at the same time the accuracy and then the arm talent to make some key plays with his brain, I think is huge. So there you go. Right. Quickly, I just wanted to kind of look at our staff and say, like, how do we stack up against the other staffs in our division? Because the AFC West is just this like coaching clinic happening, right? So let's break it down, right? So Pete Carroll will be in his 18th year as a head coach. I look at who we got there. I'm sorry, this is a typo. It's not Shantasai. It is Rob Leonard. So looking at the staff here and just kind of how it breaks down, right? A lot of good experience, especially on defense, talent. The coordination thing with Chip Kelly is a huge kind of unknown or whatever, right? So defensive masterminds all over the place. Chip Kelly has a high octane offense, right? There's a lot of veteran leadership that's kind of strengths to the staff. The questions would be, Kelly's got a questionable NFL track record. How's that equate? How does he adjust, right? And this is the first time that some of these coaches have worked together. Is that going to cause some early season chemistry stuff that we have to deal with, right? We look at the Chiefs, right? They got Nagy, Tulib, and Spagnola. Everybody retained. So stability and continuity is huge, right? They have an elite offense with Mahomes and Reed, Nagy helping out. They have a proven offensive formula. Their defense has grown to the point where it's one of the better defenses in the NFL. They consistently improved the pass rush, and the coverage schemes have started to be something to deal with, right? Weakness, I think there's a lack of fresh ideas on offense. They've struggled against elite defenses, and they've had some recent playoff exits that were caused by those struggles. So there is a dependence on the stars on defense. Chris Jones and Snead and, the kid, help me out, Washington Husky fans. Corner that they picked up from the Huskies that has been playing well out there.
What team did he go to?
Kansas City, Watson, I believe. That's what I'm saying.
You said corner?
Yeah, he was a Huskies corner. I think his last name was Watson. Jalen Watson or something like that. But when you compare the two teams, the Chiefs have an advantage when it comes to their stability on offense. And the Raiders have a more experienced defense. No, Snead was already there, and then they drafted him. Because Snead went to Ole Miss years ago. And then we have the big question for them for this is, can the Chip Kelly offense keep up with the Andy Reid offense, right? Who's actually the best play caller or offensive designer in this division? Is it Reid, or has Chip Kelly surpassed him now? Will we see that, coming in next year? So that'll be kind of interesting to kind of keep watch on. Let's see here. Now, let's take a look at Denver. Second year for Peyton, 17th as a head coach. You look at Peyton, 17 years. Reid is 12th with the Chiefs, 26th as an NFL head coach. It's crazy. I can see why he feels like he might retire soon. It's 18 for Pete Carroll and then 17 for Sean Payton. Sean Payton is accompanied by Joe Lombardi, Vance Joseph, and then a new hire on special teams, Ben Kawaka. So that cohesiveness that we talked about for our special teams, they do not have. They will be starting over as a special teams unit, trying to revamp that. So interesting. Now the strength is Sean Payton's play calling, right? He's one of the best play callers that we've had, and that's hard to argue with because I said it. Vance Joseph's defense improved a lot late last year. They were shaky early, but they turned things around late in the season and started to look like the kind of defense that made sense based on the players they had. Peyton and Lombardi specialize in QB development. And the systems they run are friendly to the quarterback, conducive to, getting first downs, moving the chains, staying ahead of down and distance, and that sort of stuff. Right. The weaknesses are they lack the kind of defensive adjustments from Van Schofus that you like to see sooner rather than later. Things will happen. You would figure that your coordinator would be ready for that, right? That when teams start to do certain things, he should have anticipated that would be the response. This is why it's chess and not checkers. And then the uncertain quarterback future. So Peyton, his system, needs elite quarterback play. But beyond Bo Nix and, Bo Nix only had 1 year, how stable is that room? How good is that quarterback room, right? That's another question that kind of floats out there for the Broncos. And then lastly, let's first talk about, the Raiders have a better defensive coaching staff than the Broncos. And we probably have an edge that was given up as far as play calling, right? Because it's hard to say that Chip Kelly's going to outcall Sean Payton. We'll see. Sean Payton is usually a pretty inventive, aggressive guy. So the question is, can Payton's offense stay ahead of the curve, or will Carroll's defensive schemes give the Raiders an upper hand? And I can tell you that historically, when Pete Carroll has faced these guys, they have not come out on the other end happy about it. I think Andy Reid's the only one with a running record, and it's 3-2. And literally it was 2-2 until the final time that they played. And there's a distinct advantage for the Chiefs at the time, right? So between the teams themselves, talent level and such. And then we get to the Harbaugh Chargers, first year as a Chargers head coach and fifth as an NFL head coach. And guys, I think that we need to be really clear here. Jim Harbaugh is the worst coach in our division. He has the least experience and the least achievements. Everyone else is a Super Bowl winner. Everyone else has been a head coach for a decade or more. Just want to be clear about that. A lot of people were upset we didn't pick him up last year instead of Antonio Pierce. I was not. Probably part of the reason why I was cheering Antonio Pierce hire is because I did not want a Jim Harbaugh hire. I think he is a wrecker of teams. I think he destroys team morale. I think that by the time he is done, the team will be worse off than when he got there. And, hiring Greg Roman as an offensive coordinator, it's like just told me everything I didn't. If I didn't know, I knew for sure when he hired Greg Roman. Okay, holy crap! Really? I mean, okay. Anyway, as much as I don't like the offensive philosophy of Greg Roman, I try to be fair, right? One of their advantages is that Lamar was an MVP, and he could do some stuff with Herbert's mobility, but they won't. Harbaugh likes to play physical, right? So the O-line, can end up being really a dominant thing, and he could turn the defense into this aggressive attacking thing. But I tell you what he's already done is got rid of Bosa. Bosa won't be back per the rumor train that includes Harbaugh. So the breaking down of the roster has begun. He has a defensive mindset, and so Michigan's defense was elite under him. And so I think he'll. Jesse Minter was the coordinator in Michigan. He trained him, brought him over as a defensive coordinator, so the same kind of feel as that Michigan team. Greg Roman, Minter, and then Ryan Ficken is the special teams coordinator. Right? Don't know much about him, but I will say the weakness and the staff is that Greg Roman has historically struggled at creating high-level passing concepts that work in the NFL. Their coordinator on defense is unproven. He's at Michigan. What happens when he starts to see some of these weirder concepts and has to go against them for Reed and Chip Kelly, right? So we'll see. When we match the teams up, the Chargers have the best trenches-focused staff, while the Raiders have a more balanced and experienced staff overall. The question is, will Harbaugh's old-school philosophy work in the modern NFL against elite defensive minds like Carroll and Graham together? So that's going to be kind of what you ask yourself. And so this is what I did. I put together the rankings, and I believe that the Raiders have the number 2 coaching staff in the AFC West. And I think that, you look at the offense, Chiefs have the best quarterback coach combo, obviously. Broncos have a really elite playmaker, but there's a chance Chip Kelly is just as good as or better than him. If you look at what he did in the pros so far, if he's ever continue that, he would surpass Sean Payton as a play caller. Harbaugh, their offense has passing limitations in a league that is predicated on passing. The Chiefs defense, Spagnuolo, man, right? Just he's there, they're doing well. I think the Raiders staff is the most defensively versatile and talented defensive staff. The overall strength is they have the strongest defensive staff. Broncos have been inconsistent on defense. The Chargers want to be tough and physical. I'm not sure what happens there. But, yeah, I think overall Chiefs have the most proven staff. Raiders have the strongest defensive staff. Broncos rely on Peyton's experience, and the Chargers are relying on Harbaugh's kind of culture shift that he's made down there. That's the big thing for them. So I go back. What are any thoughts on that stuff there, Tom? Yeah, do you have any thoughts on the breakdown or comparisons between the coaching staffs and that stuff?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think we're standing well in regards to the AFC West. Everybody that's enamored with Harbaugh, that ain't it. That ain't it. And I was with you, on that boat of no Harbaugh because I know what he does to teams. He wipes them completely out.
Yep. Cleans house. Argues with team captains. And then, finds reasons to get rid of them. Alienates the best players on the team to the point where they want to switch sides of the football. I think there's a lot. Listen, have you guys ever seen his brother talk about the time when they went on vacation and Jim held him down under the water for an uncomfortably long amount of time to the point where John thought he may die? Listen, guys, I've been swimming a lot.
He always gets beat by his brother. I don't think he's ever won. I don't think he's ever won one against his brother.
He hasn't. John beats him every time in Baltimore. He's like, this is for that vacation where you tried to kill me, allegedly. It's disturbing. Go check my hot mess episode. I make fun of it, and you can see the cut in there. John talking about Jim holding him under the water too long. He's like, yeah, I thought maybe this time he really did snap, and that was gonna be it. I don't know, man. I just haven't been swimming too many times and had a family member bring me to the point where I thought I was going to die.
Same.
But But I'm sure that's this is fine, right?
It's one thing of thinking it, and there's one thing of actually doing it. Just saying.
Everybody's been mad, but it wasn't even like they were just playing. They just played wrestling or something. Anyway,
I
says,
think we've all been in a place where we wanted to choke out one of our cousins.
right? But you don't like do it to the point where they think they're gonna die. Have that psychological damage. It's got to be damaging or something. I don't think you're supposed to. Yeah. Anyway, E.C. Everett says, I really like the merging of Carroll and PG's philosophies and then Joe Wood's track record with secondaries. With a few pieces, this could be a monster defense. For real. Like, scary. We're going to have an episode just on this concept here and what can happen. Because this is a doozy. You don't quite often see differing philosophies get married on a defense like this. Pay attention when you do. It is not the normal MO. It means that somebody's ready to experiment. They're ready to get in the lab, right? And add and subtract. And that's always interesting to me as a football purist, right? Because football is football. There's nothing new under the sun except until there is. We'll see what they come up with Carroll's cover 3 thing. I mean, probably the most revolutionary defensive concept since Buddy Ryan in the 4-6, right? Probably more enduring than the Buddy Ryan 4-6 defense. So, one of those kind of levels of creating something new. I'm not saying it's all his invention, because that's not how inventions work. We can talk about patents and intellectual property and colonizing thought, but most inventions are kind of the corroboration of a bunch of different people coming together over time, handing work off to each other, and somebody culminating it with something, finishing it off, having a genius like moment where they solve some key conflict within that system. Okay. And that's kind of what happened with the cover 3, right? So we'll see. And like, if there's a coordinator that would be ready to like completely create something revolutionary out of this, Patrick Graham's that dude. My bet is that he is in a nondescript, office building that he rented in like a tough part of town. He's got a keg full of coffee, no sugar, no cream, just hot ass coffee, and a chalkboard with actual chalk. And he's been in there the whole time since he took the job back, just drawing up shit. It's going to be really interesting to see what they come up with, or what he comes up with the influence of what Carroll is going to be wanting out of the defense, right? Some of the concepts. Are we going to see a lot more press coverage stuff from him? More odd fronts, more blitzing? Probably not. Probably less blitzing. Carroll would probably blitz less than he did. That's going to be interesting, right? That's going to be interesting. We probably need to get pressure out of the front 4, right? So, yeah, that's a good question, man. Thank you for asking it. Do you have any thoughts on this one before we get up out of here? It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah, man. Can you read it for me? My eyes is a little messed up tonight.
He's just saying he likes the merging of Carroll and PG's philosophies, and then with Joe Woods on track, his track record with secondaries, they have a lot of pieces to make something pretty monster happen.
Yeah, I talked about it when the news first came out about Patrick Graham and him added to Pete Carroll. There's situations where they can actually, and that goes to the ego, right? Killing the ego, because there might be a situation on third down where everybody know Patrick Graham is fairly a cover 2 guy. They might flip to cover 3 or something like that, something exotic, you know what I'm saying, or something different that they ain't expecting and surprise. There goes the interception. You know what I'm saying? So they can pull certain things out at certain times, if they really want to, either break the game open or, turn that corner, so because we do have guys that can get it done. I think that was another thing that I talked about too is Merrick. Merrick's a key piece to the defense because he ran the cover 2 with Patrick Graham, but he also was drafted to run the cover 3 with Gus Bradley. So he knows cover 3. You know what I'm saying? He just has to, obviously just brush it up a little bit and go out there and run it. But when you have someone familiar with it on the back end, that definitely helps up, back end helps the front end helps the back end. So if the back end already got it locked, there's a lot of possibilities there. So I'm fingers crossed all the way through this season that there is no ego. Because if they really start talking to each other and saying, hey, I think this will cook, we might actually be dangerous, more dangerous than people expect.
I think that's an absolutely important thing to say. The ego thing is not a problem between those two. So that's huge. I think your point about Merrick is huge. I want to make a further point about Merrick. He plays the most important position in the cover 3, which is the free the free safety position, right? Where you're covering massive amount of green space, where instinct, right, plays a huge part in what you can accomplish. Merrick is that dude. He really is the number 1 safety on the market, guys. Trayvon Merrick, I'll say it again, is the number 1 safety on the market. When was the last time we had anybody on defense number 1 anything on the market? That's the situation. I think he does get resigned because I'm sure that PG wants him back, and I know how much Carroll is going to cherish that kind of free safety, middle of the field guy, and that's Merrick, right, all day. So I think he'll be back, right? But it's going to cost some money, so try not to count that man's pockets. Mr. Davis does not need you in his bank account. Okay, just remember that. Yeah, I think we got through the major stuff that I wanted to talk about today, guys. Everybody did a good job in class. Thanks for paying attention. And there will not be a pop quiz tomorrow because I think you all paid attention well. But you never know what will happen when you come back on Monday. So be prepared. And we'll get further into kind of the individual unit staff. And yeah, I think that's going to be a major focus next week. And eventually I will figure out how to get this quarterback preview stuff out. I've actually decided to do one conglomerate video for the first 5, I guess the bottom 5 quarterbacks out of my top 15, which I'm doing this year. And so it's actually going to be a little bit longer, but better suited that way, just because I don't have a ton I'm going to sit here and dwell on the number 15 and 14 quarterbacks and stuff like that. But you need to know who they are, because as we get later in the drafts and things like that, or as part of your free agents come up, you have an idea who these players are as they may be acquired by your favorite team. So I do have some shockers, I think, as far as rankings. I have a quarterback that people have in the top 5 in the bottom of the 15 rankings. He will be in that first video. And if anyone in the chat can guess who that quarterback is, that is thought of as a top 5 guy, but ends up not in the top 10 for me, then I have a commemorative flag like this one. So you got to put it in the comments of the video, not in the chat here, in the comments of the video afterwards. And if first person to do it, if they get it right, commemorative flag from this season. Got one for you. All right. So that's what we're doing. Give them something away. Why not? But yeah, any final thoughts for we really do kick it out of here, chat? This is your final chance. If you got something you want to ask, Twan?
No, I ain't got anything, man. I'm good.
Beautiful. Well, I'll say like I always say, man, stay positive, because otherwise, man, life is hard, right? And reading between the lines, because a lot of times that's where the information's at. People are going to tell you straight up. Not always. If they do, count yourself lucky. And otherwise, man, just stay hot. Good night now.